gonna choose? Who's gonna lose? What's it gonna prove? Who will be bruised?
Knew that wasn't working. What's up, guys? My name is James. I am your lore master tonight. Good to see you guys on the Lore Reloaded. Going to give it a second. Going to check the audio to make sure it comes through. But while I'm waiting to see if the audio catches up, let me tell you this. Check me out at twitter.com/lore reloaded or twitch.tv/lore reloaded. Give me a quick second. I'm going to check the audio. Yep, audio is working. Fantastic. So let's just go ahead and break it down for you guys today. And just get with it. Just have this conversation. First off, let's talk about the Enterprise B. Because the Enterprise B is a refit. Well, I love you too, Voltage 483. Oh, I need to say hi to people. I didn't do that. So let's say hi to a couple people. We got the Iron Wolves here. Voltage 483, who's in love with me, and I love as well. We got Scotty Awesome Sauce, who couldn't even believe I was going to talk about this subject. We got Drew Taylor. NorCal Prepper, Drew, we already talked about that. Johnny Doe, always fun. Never a party until Thomas Potts is in the house. Lex the Legend, what is going on? So let's go ahead and break it down. Let's have this shitty chat, as it will. So the Enterprise B, which is a refit Excelsior, not the Excelsior itself, which apparently, even though to me doesn't look like it's that much of a difference, is a huge flippin' deal to some anal people. So I did get that wrong, and in my next video, I'll correct that. Well, it's not that I got that wrong. I knew the Enterprise B was different from the Excelsior. I could not, at any point, find a good image that I liked, that I thought I could use without someone suing me to the nines of the Enterprise B. Just none of them really look good to me. And so I just used the Excelsior because I have a file of pictures that I'll reuse that I think look good, and so I plug and play that. And so I just put an Excelsior there because I thought it looked similar enough, and again, I just couldn't find one that I liked. Apparently that's a big deal to like 5% of my fan base, so I'm going to do a video updating that. I really should have pointed it out, so that is kind of on my side. But that said, John Doe giving $10, thank you so much. This is the best channel on YouTube. You're right. You're absolutely right. Let's talk about the Enterprise B for a second, because someone brought up an interesting point that maybe the Enterprise B, and I'm actually going to give them a shout out. I'm actually going to give them a shout out when I do the video, but maybe the Enterprise B had the Transwarp drive, which, as I've said, I've done a lore theory where the Transwarp drive is actually the TNG scale. I rewatched the beginning of Star Trek Generations, and so here's the interesting thing when you listen to the dialogue. In the dialogue, they say that we're the only ship in range, and that it's 3 light years away. Now, interestingly, when you say it like that, you could interpret that to mean that, and before that, they even talk about the warp drive. You have the media, the news people, they're like, hey, are you going to try out the warp drive? And after that, they say, oh, look, there's something happening, there's a distress call. We're the only ship in range, it's 3 light years away. And so, you could interpret that to mean that the Enterprise B is the only one with a drive capable of reaching them in time. And so, could it be that it wasn't the fact that there weren't any other ships around, that there were nothing but ships around, that they had as many ships as we usually see, but only the Enterprise B had the Transwarp drive, which put them in range. I was taking a look at the warp scale, which, by the way, that thing is just balked all to hell. That thing is... What's up, Darren Wagner? That thing is stupid. I absolutely cannot... interpreting it is idiotic. And beyond that, it's just trying to put it all together. But from what I can piece together, if the Enterprise B could go warp 5 or warp 6, or even up to warp 7 or 8 on the TNG scale, then it would put that... Let me move this a little closer so it's not too far away. It would put them at about a day or so away, which is a problem, don't get me wrong. But if you did it on the original series, on the TOS scale, which most all other ships would be at that point, as far as I could tell, it puts it out like 4 or 5 days. Like a stupid amount of time. Now, if this is a distress call, 1 day seems like a long time. And again, I think it's an issue. But that's the best way of explaining what happened, and it still somewhat works. Even though the timescales are a little bit off. And yeah, we got 70 people watching. Why doesn't everybody hit the like button? 17 people like it, but only with 70 people watching? Come on. We need thumbs up and thumbs down. Darren Wagner says, I always assumed that Transwarp was basically what they called the new warp scales before they became standard. Yeah, Darren Wagner. And that's what I have argued and I did a lore debate on. That's why we had to change to the TNG scale. But if you've watched the recent video where I talk about the Enterprise B, I really make fun of the fact that it's the only ship available in Sector 001. You know, the main set where everything goes. What's up, 100% American Buffalo? We haven't gotten into that yet. And yeah, Captain George. Well, there's 31 people now, Captain George. But so, those are my thoughts when it comes to that. And I was curious, what do you guys think? Do you think that holds weight? Maybe that's why the Enterprise B was the only one that could make it? A lot of people are trying to talk about how when you have VIP cruises that having the ship not done is something that is done in like the real world. It's like send out ships that aren't prepared or aren't finished, especially on VIP cruises. That seems really stupid to me, and I don't know why they would have kept that, especially since it's an Earth thing, obviously. But that's just me. What do you guys think? And while you're doing that, I will do some loud tapping. Voltage 483 says that I'm Voltage's waifu. Okay, fair enough. I think that the idea works, lore. SC, the Enterprise have built-in danger magnets. Well, that's true, SC. That is true. Orataka Tinga says they definitely rejiggered the warp scale after something happened technology-wise. Sure. So, I mean, but again, when you look at the warp scales, the way the warp scales work it still doesn't make an intense amount of sense, because even on TNG warp scale, the Excelsior, we don't have any, as far as I could see, not the Excelsior, the Enterprise B, the Excelsior too, but the Enterprise B, we don't have any definitive warp, maximum warp for them. Not an alpha cannon that I could find. But, so, generally, the Excelsior would be warp 8, maybe. I couldn't see them hitting warp 9 in the TNG scale. But again, even at warp 8, it's a little under a day, which is a long time for a distress signal. They couldn't get out of the rift in a day, and it didn't destroy itself in a day. But if we just ignore range, TNG puts them a lot better chance of getting there than the TOS scale, right? Super Saiyan Man, whatever happened to the Excelsior? I don't know. I don't think we have any alpha cannon on what happened to it. What's going on, Pete Channel? Thomas Potts says, I think Starfleet didn't think anything would happen when the B was just traveling to Pluto and back. Well, sure. So here, let's talk about that for a second. We are going to get into the CBS SUED thing, I promise you. But let's talk about that for a second, because a lot of people say, well, they just let them out. They're just going to Pluto and back. What could happen? the VIP and whatnot, right? VIP crews, they don't generally do that. We're talking about the Sol system, people. The Sol system. Sector 001. You got the Federation President. You got the Federation Council. You got Starfleet Academy. You got Starfleet Intelligence. You got all of the major stuff is based in Earth. And you're telling me there are no other ships there. Now, maybe you could convince me that the Enterprise B was the only one with Transwarp, because they're still getting it. But there would still be a lot of ships there. There would still be Constitution classes, Excelsior classes, Oberth classes, but none of them having the Transwarp. I can kind of get that, but if it's the only ship in the Sol system, are you effing kidding me? That makes no sense. Jaeger Bomb helping out with the channel. Thank you so much. Slightly off subject. Do you think a spin-off show with Demoria Sulu as captain of the Enterprise B? Do you think a spin-off show with Demoria Sulu as captain of the Enterprise B? What would I think of that? That would be interesting. Definitively would be in the prime timeline. Wouldn't be Kelvin, but I think that would be fun. I don't mind necessarily descendants of the heroes and stuff. So I don't know. Darren Wagner, I think the rest of the ships that were in the solar system weren't fast enough to get there, hence in range. Yeah, Darren, that's what I'm saying, but it would have to be in the TNG scale, because there would be ships that would have the same TOS scale warp drives as the Enterprise B. And I think Drew Taylor hits it off. This would be the equivalent of no ships in harbor in Annapolis or Washington. Exactly. That's why I keep coming back, and people don't get this. There is absolutely no chance, at least I hope that there's no chance, that major governments would have one ship that was underpowered, didn't have torpedoes, and didn't have the things needed to protect the nation, and is the only ship next to the capital of the government. That's ridiculous to me. That's just absolutely. One ship in Seoul was the Federation asking to be attacked? Exactly. And again, every time we see it in the 24th century, there are dozens of ships in Sol system. Absolutely dozens of ships. It just makes no sense if it's the only ship there. Now, again, if it is, if we're saying that it's the only ship in range, the only ship with Transwarp, then that makes sense. And I could see that working, right? And so, again, I don't know. It's just the way you look at it. So I'll give it a couple seconds. You guys can say anything about that if you want to. Then we'll go on to the CBS lawsuit. Here's the thing. I'm not Random Gamer. I'm not Doomcock. I'm going to have a pretty lukewarm or mixed opinion. What's going on, Old Fire Master? Good seeing you, buddy. I haven't seen you in a while. We need to play Star Trek Online. I'm getting back in that. I'm getting the team back together. We need to play that. But the problem is I'm going to be a little lukewarm on that, and I don't think you guys are going to necessarily appreciate it all that much. 100% American Buffalo. Well, it's Star Trek. If other ships showed up, so the producers didn't want other ships because the Enterprise D would have lost the epic factor. Well, that's true. The Enterprise B, I guess. Good evening, Laura. I'm doing well. I hope you're doing well, Gabriel. Even if Starfleet had no other ships in range, there'd be conscriptable civilian ships in sector. Yeah, I mean, again, the more you think about it, I get it. It's a movie. The Enterprise has to be the one to save the day, but the channel tries to take it as if it's real. And a lot of people, and I hate my southern accent, anything having an eel to it, I say inappropriately. One of the things you could do that is a credit or a compliment is to try to break something down and make it make sense and treat it with respect. So, yeah, I just, again, I think that it's, I get that it's for movie purposes, but the channel is Alpha Cannon breaking stuff down. So, let's talk about the CBS lawsuit and everything that is going on with that. And I had it pulled up, but apparently I had that removed. So let me see it real quick. Give me a moment. Where is it? Oh, I'm not gonna be able to find it. Okay, well I had his points pulled up. So CBS is getting sued over the tardigrade issue. So for those who don't know, and this is me briefly going over it. I'll try to include a couple of resources, or if you guys want to send me the resource via Twitter. Don't put it here because you'll get banned, but send it to me via Twitter. I'll try to include it. But when you take a look at a game that had been released recently, not recently, but a game that was released in the past that utilized tardigrades, Star Trek Discovery looks like they may have plagiarized or were heavily influenced by this game. And so, as an example, again, they used tardigrades to travel through space. The tardigrades look the exact same. The method of traveling is similar. And there were some similarities between what the characters looked like as well as the characters in the game. Additionally, you also had a homosexual couple. Both were male. And you have a homosexual couple in the Star Trek Discovery, of course. So my point with this, and let me see if I can find it, because I had something pulled up good, and it's gone now. And if you guys want to tweet me a good reference source that I can go through and we can talk through it, let me know that you tweeted me, and I will take a look at it. But Thomas Potts, helping out the channel, $4.99. Thank you so much. If only Starfleet would remember that time a few decades ago when the Klingons almost attacked her. Exactly my point. Okay, so sorry. Let's go back from the CBS lawsuit for a second, too. When you look at Discovery and how close the Klingons were, you're telling me they only had one ship? That makes no sense. I'm going to include that. Thank you, Thomas Potts. That's exactly. Daniel Lambert, when it comes to Transwarp, you just have to hit the I believe button. That's right. Hit that I believe button. So, yeah, it's with Anus, or how do you say that? Anus Adden? I'm never going to say that right. So, here's what's happened, and we're going to go through, I'm looking at oneangrygamer.net, and we will break that down. Let me give my overall thoughts, and then I'll talk about it, right? I think that CBS someone at CBS had to have been influenced by this game. It is way, way too close. The method of travel works almost 1-to-1. I mean, it is stupid how close in that game and on Discovery. Just absolutely ridiculous. So I don't know that. It may be plagiarism, but it at least heavily influenced. The rest of the stuff I'm not as compelled by. I don't think that you really have anything, and I think the lawsuit is doing like you see with any other lawsuit, that they're throwing everything they can at it and seeing what sticks. The only thing I think that has a chance of sticking... By the way, you're right, 104 people watching and only 49 thumbs up. What's up with that? The only thing that I think has a good chance of sticking is the tardigrade, the way it looks, the way it's portrayed. SC, yes, it does bear hug the person, but I mean, when you take a look at the way the interactions and the way the movements are, it's the same, man. I mean, you can try to do what you can try to wash it away, but I don't think it is. And as Withered Tax actually says, even if they did plagiarize, sad thing is that CBS is a billion-dollar company. A small game company will have no chance. I completely agree with that, actually. I have 12 videos, up to 15 now, that are all under Content ID for CBS. And every one of them, I feel like if it was 1-to-1 and I had as much money as CBS did, I feel absolutely confident I would win any lawsuit. Absolutely confident. That said, I don't have as much money as CBS did. And I think CBS is bluffing, but I don't have the money to take that chance. So what I do is I wipe my chin and I say, thank you, Daddy CBS. And I don't do any future videos in a way that CBS could ever hit my stuff again. And I just let them have that money. There are videos with 200,000 views on them. Never made a dime off of it because of CBS. Not one single penny. And I think that is going to be specific to CBS being sued on this plagiarism thing. I think that if they wanted to, they could really just bankrupt the dev. And just bankrupt him by delaying and just continuing to delay and doing this, that, and the other. When it comes from a PR standpoint, I don't think it's going to hurt CBS all that much. The best case scenario, in my opinion, for this entire thing is that CBS loses and pays out the nose. And I don't think that that's going to stop Star Trek Discovery. I think they're going to continue doing what they are. But I think that if they had to pay out money, a substantial amount, it might change the way they do processes, and they might be nicer to content creators. And so I don't think that this is going to have the impact that everyone else thinks that it is. And again, I love Random Gamer. I like Doomcock. Doomcock should be on tomorrow. Random Gamer might be able to be on tonight. I invited her on. She's got something going on, but she might be able to come on tonight. Doomcock's on tomorrow for sure. I don't know why I'm pointing that way as if tomorrow is that way, but Doomcock should be on the channel tomorrow. But unlike them, I hope, and here's the other thing. There's almost, it seems like, a delight in the attack on Star Trek Discovery, right? What's going on, Joel Johnson? Nia Gamer, always good to see you. I'm happy in that I think CBS does deserve a gut punch so that they'll stop being who they are. But I don't think it's going to have the huge impact that everyone thinks. So let's take a look. Let's go One Angry Gamer and then Rock Shotgun Paper. What is it? I'm probably doing that wrong. CBS lawsuit. Someone said do that. So we'll take a look at those two and go from there. Rock, paper, shotgun. Is it? Yep. Hey, if someone could link the Rock, paper, shotgun, send it via Twitter. I'll take a look at it because someone requested that I read that. What's going on, Bryson Font? How could CBS bankrupt the devs? They're the ones suing CBS. All that could happen would be they just killed the lawsuit. Not true, Drew Taylor. Not true at all. It's really easy to bankrupt someone who's suing you. Really, really easy. You stretch it out. You delay as many times as you can. You file as much paperwork as you can. You countersue. You go out of your way to you fight them. Hey, let's not have it in the court where you want to do it. Let's have it in the court in Washington State because CBS has headquarters in Washington State. Oh, we failed Washington State? Well, let's challenge that and have it in California. Oh, we can't have it in that? Well, let's challenge that and have it in Texas. We have all kinds of places. Every time they're going to have to challenge them, every time they can bring it up. Even if you're the one getting sued, you can bankrupt the person suing you. It's not as hard as you think. The legal system, especially in the United States, now I'm not sure where this would be happening, but the legal system in the United States, absolutely easy to keep someone someone going, right? Again, I would see them doing that. Honestly, I can honest to God see, even in what the dev is saying, the game developer dev, what they're saying is they kept delaying. We were trying to talk to them. The lawyers were always out on vacation. The lawyers got it wrong. The lawyers couldn't make it. They were delaying them, and they're not even in court yet. So imagine what would happen when they have the full might of the legal system of whatever country they're in doing this. So they're already delaying and costing money, right? So it's not like this is out of left field. SC says, "Oh, lore Reloaded. Oh boy, you're really rubbing shoulders with the Trek hater mafia," referring to Doomcock and Random Gamer. I like both Doomcock and Random Gamer. I think they are a little overzealous. I'll tell them that to their faces. I don't mind. I like them. I think they add a lot. I think they're a good addition. I definitely think they should be on par with me subscriber-wise. I heard a theory, and maybe this was from Doomcock. I'm not sure who it was from. That this might not, maybe it was Midnight's Edge. This wouldn't hurt CBS, but could really hurt, starts with Paramount. And I think that there's a bigger chance of it hurting Paramount. I don't think that it will, but there's definitely a bigger chance of that occurring. But did someone link me the rock, paper, shotgun? All right, there it is. All right, so let's break this down, shall we? All right, so this is from Rock, Paper, Shotgun. It is done by, and if Rock, Paper, Shotgun's who I think it is, you guys will probably see me get a little angry. It was done by John Walker. For those wanting to follow along, there it is right there. Good people. And let's just go ahead and break it down. A Tale of Two Tardigrades. I felt my dream... This is them talking. Or this was what's written, at least. I felt my dream was ripped away from me in front of the world, indie developer Abden told me when I asked him about the bizarre circumstances in which he found himself. Over the last couple of weeks... I felt violated, stripped from my own game. Most of all, I felt that my fans and friends had so many questions regarding my authenticity. Imagine the situation. You've been working on your unreleased indie sci-fi adventure game for over 3 years, only to see a major new TV show launch using the same specific idea as its core space travel concept. That's a peculiar situation in which independent developer Abden found himself when he watched the first few episodes of CBS Star Trek's Discovery. He's been making a game called Tardigrades, and now Discovery has come along. He's really not sure what to do. So we're going to stop right there. This is me talking, not them. So that there is a wrinkle to that. If you haven't released a game, I guess we're going to have to wait for the actual lawsuit to come out, right? Because how much information did he have? How much was released? But as I said, when you take a look at the tardigrade that he used, the way the travel works, and the tardigrade that Discovery uses, it's pretty similar there, right? Let me see. I wonder if you can see a real tardigrade. Another thing, too, when you take a look at tardigrades themselves, the color is amazingly similar as well. Because tardigrades, from just a simple search, don't appear to come out generally as blue creatures. There are a couple of blue ones here, but they don't look anywhere near what we see with both Discovery and what we see in his indie dev game, right? So, again, it seems too close for comfort. I would say this. If they did this by accident, whoever does the research for Star Trek Discovery is amazingly stupid. You're telling me they couldn't find this? Really? But let's continue with the article. So continuing on the article, it's not unusual for the release of a new movie or TV series to bring accusations that the plot is based on a lesser-known work, whether a self-published book, a spec script, an animated short, or something else. So when Abden got in touch with me to claim that Star Trek Discovery shared some odd similarities with his in-development AGS Pixel Adventure, I was immediately dubious. His in-development AGS Pixel Adventure, called Tardigrades, and which he says, his in-development AGS Pixel Adventure called Tardigrades, and which, he says, features intergalactic travel via the quantum abilities of a giant blue tardigrade. Huh. I don't know why I can't read tonight. Star Trek Discovery. For those not familiar, is the first new TV series from the Roddenberry universe in 12 years. Co-created by Brian Fuller, it follows the ups and significant downs of Michael Burnham, a Vulcan-raised human science officer on board a bleeding-edge Starfleet vessel with a unique ability to instantaneously travel to anywhere in the universe via a quantum mycelia spore network. To harness this, the crew discover a symbiotic relationship between the spores and a huge and seemingly dangerous beast that resembles a massive version of Earth's microanimals, the tardigrade. And so they name theirs the same. The tardigrade allows the ship to make use of the quantum network of space spores, and at some cost to the poor giant water bear, be anywhere they wish immediately. Tardigrade by Abden is about an ancient race of Earthlings on the verge of discovering intergalactic travel via a system using, well, giant tardigrades that allows them to travel anywhere in the universe. Star Trek Discovery was announced on the 2nd of November 2015, although not named until the following year. Tardigrades was announced on the 8th of May 2014 under the name Epoch. It was posted to Steam's Greenlight on the 21st November 2014. It changed its names to Tardigrades on the 22nd February 2015. 9 months before it was even announced there would be a new Star Trek show, Abden wrote this on his blog. Tardigrades, water bears, moss piglets, call them whatever you like. For me, they are the indestructible. Despite their little size of very small, that's me adding, they can survive temperatures from just above absolute zero up to above the boiling point of water. They can also survive extreme conditions of radiation in the vacuum of space. They can go without food or water for more than 10 years. Who else can travel like tardigrades? Why are we adding that? Abden's concern is that it's his project that's not out yet. It's his idea that he fears will now look like it copied CBS's. Even if, as is entirely plausible, it didn't happen the other way around either. Although Abden definitely is suggesting that it did. God, Abden's concern is that it's going to be funnier that I can't read a Abden's concern is that it's his project that's not out yet. It's his idea that he fears will now look like it's copied CBS's. Even if, as is entirely plausible, it didn't happen the other way around either. So what he's trying to say here, in the most confusing way to write English possible, is that it wasn't done on purpose. Although Abden definitely is suggesting that it was done on purpose, his argument starts with the tardigrade. Both projects choose to take a specific microanimal and make it larger than a man. Both choose to make it blue. Both then choose to have it be the means of instantaneous intergalactic travel. It could be a simple coincidence. So let's stop right there for a second. Sorry, guys. I wish I could read. God. It is amazing. And SC, because I know you're watching this and you're ready to defend Discovery no matter what. I don't know if it's because you're a troll or because you actually believe it. But they both created tardigrades. They both made them man-sized. They both made them capable of instantaneously traveling anywhere. And they made them blue. The writer of this article says that, that could be completely and utterly a coincidence. That's a lot of things put together exactly alike to be a coincidence for me. Michael Lindsay, not laughing with you. Laura, definitely laughing at you. You should laugh at me, especially since I'm Southern. I can't say words and I can't read. And not reading is not because I'm Southern, it's because I'm stupid. Mecha Random 42, what is going on? Oh, Oh, Mecca, hey, shoot me a message on Twitter if you want to get on here. I figured you would be busy today, so I went ahead and started. But message me if you want on, and give me your Discord, and I'll pull you on. I can't see that as it's, be nice. Both SC and Mecca, be nice to each other, guys. Yeah, don't do that. Mecha Random 42. SC says blow me. Mecha Random 42 says pay me. I mean, okay. Love you guys. So, what do you guys think? Is this something random? Because those are a lot of integers. Those are a lot of things put together that to randomly be placed together is kind of odd to me. The bigger question, though, I guess, is what is the negative impact too? Because that seems like that's the crux of the entire lawsuit. I don't think anything else really is going to stick. I think they're just throwing that there to throw it there. But when it comes to the tardigrade, so where specifically should we go with that? What is that worth? Because what is it worth that they stole that from the game? Should they pay millions of dollars for a small aspect to it? See, and that's one of the reasons I wanted Mecha Random on here, or Game User Random. I think that was a better name if you ask me. Dixon Sidem says I'm much cuter than Dixon thought. Well, thank you. I like being considered cute myself. But it's one small aspect, and it doesn't seem like they've stolen too much else from it. The impact, I guess, negative impact, would be that when he does go live, they'll feel like he stole it from them. So what do we put on that? By the way, Mecca, again, as I said, if you want to go ahead and shoot me your Discord, we can get you in, my friend. But until that happens, let's continue on a little bit more. Cancel. I don't think they're going to cancel Discovery at all. So, looking at Rock, Paper, Shotgun, I've already shared it. Continuing on with that. As John says, it could simply be a coincidence. All of these things happening with the tardigrade. A pool of 7 billion people makes unique ideas an unlikely prospect, and random events segregate seemingly non-randomly. While Discovery wasn't announced until a year after Abdom announced his game, and not until 9 months after Abdom renamed his project to Tardigrades, there's every possibility the show's creative team had been working on the idea for years beforehand, or simply came to it on their own. Well, I mean, it also is quite possible that cars, where we put in, you know how we use fuel for our cars? It's possible that actually it's not the fuel that makes the cars go, but the magical pixie unicorns that we can't see are actually addicted to fuel. And so they go into our cars and actually run, causing it to move forward. We just can't detect it because we don't have that technology. And they stop doing it when the fuel's not there. I mean, if we're talking about the realms of possibility, then we could go with that, right? Continue on with what he said. Indeed, put tardigrade space travel into Google and you'd perhaps expect to see Star Trek Discovery dominating the results. But no, what you see instead is years and years of popular science articles about the seemingly invincible little Earth beasties and their notorious ability to survive in a vacuum and in space. Fantastic there. Fantastic, fam. Fantastic. In 2012, the Smithsonian wrote in detail about the tardigrade's potential ability to survive in space. What does that have to do with space travel? In response to a Motherboard article about an amateur scientist who theorized that tardigrades could have come from outer space. They didn't, of course. They came from Earth. That's a stupid example. In 2008, a paper was published in Current Biology detailing how scientists with the European Space Agency exposed dehydrated tardigrades to space for 10 days with no deleterious effects. Okay, what's that have to do with space travel? In 2011, they were off into space again, as the BBC reported. In 2015, the BBC looked back on this and talked more about how the tardigrade is able to seemingly revive itself from death. That's fantastic. What's that have to do with Discovery? It's entirely plausible. I'm skipping some of the stuff because it has nothing to do with what this is about. It's entirely plausible both projects were inspired by similar ideas and developed entirely independently, regardless of both coming to light around the same time. Now that, in my opinion, is absolutely stupid. Sure, you might be able to say that tardigrades in space makes sense. Sure, that they came from outer space or something. But the examples given show me where we've also seen that they're blue, that they use some kind of space network to travel anywhere that they want to go, and that they help out humanity. Again, I don't agree with this author at all, like in the slightest. When it comes to that seems silly to me. But what's going back to what this writer is saying, but what's more significant right now for Abden is what he does next. People argue that he has a legal case. Others will contend that it's coincidence. Others still will make the case that the ideas are to be shared. But for Abden, a man who combines a full-time job with caring for two elderly parents, it made devoting his scant spare time to working on his gaming project a lot harder. I did not touch my computer at all, Abden tells me of the days following the realization. I was too scared to log on my email or any other social media outlet. Okay. He first learned of the issues when, shortly after episode 3 of Discovery had aired, he received a series of emails and tweets from others within the AGS, Adventure Game Studio, community, mostly populated by amateur developers who make games for little or no money. The tight-knit group has been following along with Abden's project since 2014, so when they watched Star Trek, the core storyline seemed immediately familiar. Abden said he wasn't even aware that there was a new series of Star Trek, but on receiving so many messages, he watched the episodes and found himself enjoying it. Things got weird for him. They started to show the spore drive and the white dots fall. Yeah, and again, the white dots is something else that happens there too. And the white dots flying around in a blue room, and I felt something is not right. Then the tardigrade Then the tardigrade appearance killed the show for me. I stopped enjoying the show as a story and just continued watching to note similarities. Yeah, you're telling me that this is not sorry, I'm going to bring Gamer on in just a moment, or Mecha 42 because she changed her name. It's ridiculous. There's too many things together. It would be like, man, I don't even know a good example. You're telling me that all of this is coincidence is just stupid. SC says, is it weird that sci-fi makes microorganisms large? No. Or that a real scientific subject being used in a sci-fi story, tardigrades are translucent. Blue, yes. That is kind of odd. DCS main color is blue. That's silly, SC. I honestly do think that in and of itself is silly. I don't think you necessarily have a good argument there. All right, give me a second. I'm going to try to pull Gamer on. Yay. Hey. Wanna come on? Sorry, I know it's loud. Captain what? Alright, I just shot Gamer a message. She's typing. So let's see what happens. I'm sorry, guys. I know this is a little kind of off. Yeah, Random Gamer 42. Yeah, you're not going to be mean, right? I am going to be horrifically mean. Alright, start voice call. Hey, can you hear me? Fantastic. All right, give it a second. They should be able to hear you. Let me make sure I have that set up. Can you talk again one more second? Oh, no, they can't hear you.
All right, hello.
Okay, they say it one more time.
Hello, everybody.
Okay, they should be able to hear you. Why do you think I'm going to be mean to you?
I don't know. just a precaution. I don't know.
Do I come off as like a mean person or something? Or?
No. Oh, no.
Okay. I mean, I think the worst I said this at the beginning, and I'll say, as I said, it's something I think I've already told you. I think that you and Doomcock can be a little ambitious or a little overzealous in the enjoyment of attacking Discovery. But I think you guys bring up good points, and I actually do enjoy your stuff. I told you this. I think you should have more subscribers than me. Doomcock too.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh wow, thank you.
By the way, apparently Drew Taylor says, I love Amelia. I don't know what that means. Should I have not said that?
I don't know who Amelia is.
Okay. Well, Drew Taylor loves Amelia, so there we go.
Okay.
Ow, my ears. Hold on. Says, I love Amelia.
Am I super
I
loud?
don't know what that
I can
means.
back up.
No, one second. I have not said that.
I don't know who Amelia is.
Yeah, I don't know why he said his ears are going off, but whatever. No, you're good. All right, so let's go ahead and talk. So give me your opinion, because I think that if I was to put it on when I've listened, and maybe I've misunderstood, but it seems like you are very, very adamant about how CBS has what's coming to it and that they should absolutely lose this and get sued into the ground. I'm more somewhat lukewarm. I'm hoping that they'll lose quite a bit of money just so that they'll change some practices, but I don't think it's going to destroy them, and I don't think the case is as rock solid as I think you and Doomcock do. So walk me through it. Where are you when it comes to that?
Okay, so for this case, a lot of it is kind of just vengeance, and I want to see it. I want to see it go through because of how CBS treated this poor guy, and another thing, how they've treated the fans, how much it has changed, and then from what I've heard, from all the evidence coming from the game dev's mouth, was that copyright lawyers are going to him. Usually, you have to kind of fight to get them to take a case, so a lot of it is kind of gut instinct and hunches and kind of passion, I guess, and anger. So I'm probably in the, like, he has probably a 50-50 shot of winning. It's not going to be big. It's probably not going to bankrupt CBS. They will, if anything happens, they'll settle out of court, sadly. But I think a lot of my conviction on this, I guess, is they changed so much about Star Trek to match this game. They already had warp travel. They already had all of these things that they could have taken from to change it to, we have this mutineer female lead, and now we have this guy who works on plants, and we have a giant space tardigrade that's connected to this network, and there's all these floaty, glowy little orbs all around them. There are so many weird things that would have never been in Star Trek before. It's not like, oh, well, he had a phaser in his game, or a laser gun or something, and they ripped that off. They've changed so much about Star Trek to go along with this game, if that makes any sense.
Well, sure. I definitely see. I agree that I think that this is a move away from what Trek was, and the similarities there. When it comes to the tardigrade, I'm right on there with you. By the way, for the guys watching, I've included her channel in the description, or not in the description yet, but definitely in the chat. So go check it out. Go subscribe to her. And she talks about a lot more than just this. She focuses a lot on Trek. She focuses on Babylon 5. Her channel, I think, is more like a vlog type channel. What I mean is she gets in front and more talks to people, doesn't do a lot of the breakdowns that I do, or the more uploads and things. If I'm wrong on that, let me know. But generally, I know you from the more vlog style, where you just sit and talk to people.
Yeah. A lot of the time it's live stream, interacting with chat. I try and do actual videos of article reading. I do my opinions on them as I'm reading a lot of the time. And there's a lot of kind of just sort of pop culture nonsense that I like to call out, and a lot of I think I'm kind of crusading against a lot of the fake media that we see, how one little line taken from somewhere else gets pulled and transformed into a giant article or something. And so that's kind of where the channel's focusing now. But
all the fake news. So what you already said this, I guess, but I ultimately, I don't think this is going to destroy Discovery. I think that the best case scenario, even if copyright lawyers are coming to him, the best case scenario is that CBS is about to pay millions of dollars, right? I don't think it's going to come to that, but that's the best case scenario. I do hope that happens, simply to knock them off their high horse. But I think they'll probably settle out of court, and I would be surprised if it got to the millions. Maybe I'm wrong.
It would probably be like a couple $100,000 ish, minus legal fees, minus all that.
Right.
Yeah, I don't see it going on for I don't know. I mean, I guess it depends on the guy. He seems like such a sweet, genuine person that he's not as vengeful as like me or Doomcock would be, who would, make sure that they used every resource to drag this out as long as possible to ruin CBS. I mean, that's totally something I would do. But this guy seems so sweet. Like he just wants recognition. And at the end of the day, I think the best thing we can do is promote his game for him, because I mean, it looks like a pretty cool game. I come from the gaming background, obviously, with my name being, or used to be, Random Game User 42. I was using a lot, or playing a lot of sort of indie games, so this was definitely on my radar.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think. I'm surprised Discovery is still continuing. They say that it's really popular. They're not sharing numbers, of course, so I have no idea where they get that information from. Do you really, level with me here. Be honest, it's just you and me, all right? Just you and me talking. And people have asked about the marriage we're having, so that's apparently still a thing. But it's just you and me and our closest 100 plus friends. Do you really think that he has a case when it comes to everything separate from the tardigrade?
Probably. Well, here's the thing. I think some of the characters have a similar enough. And I'm not a legal expert at all. I'm not a lawyer. I don't have legal training or anything. I think there's enough to litigate. There's enough for lawyers to jump on it. I think there's enough similarities. You have a brown bearded man in love with a very albino pale man, and as a couple, and you have the African American mutineer female as a character. There's enough. I mean, all on the same show as well. Because I've seen pictures of people tweeting out like, okay, well, this white guy is, like Thor is obviously this white guy, and this Idris Elba is obviously the brown bearded man from Tardigrades. Yes, but the point of it being is they're not, all these comparisons that other people make, they're not all pulling from the exact same franchise or movie. They're pulling random people who happen to look like these characters in comparison. So I think that a lot of it has to do with, yes, they're all from this game and they're all in this single TV show, and there's so many other coincidences, and between that and again with everything changing to kind of adhere to how this game plays out. I mean, they really need to hire like a good Trek expert if they do go to trial, because I think they could have a pretty decent argument, and I think it could very easily go to trial.
So, let's. The reason why it doesn't sound like you and SC get along ever, but SC will sometimes bring up a good point, and here's something that I think he at least can give some reasons that I've heard other people who I know aren't trolls defending Discovery say. And the thing he said is you can't copyright homosexual couples or black people. And that was one thing I was going to ask you. Do you know who the homosexual couple is? Because on Discovery, it's like the science officer and the doctor. Is it the same from the game? Do you know?
The plant biologist is. Let me look at the game real quick.
Sure.
I don't off the top of my head know if his boyfriend is like a medical officer. So,
sure. But so here's my thing though. It's absolutely correct that you can't. So I have. Not a master's by far. I was about to say master. I have a bachelor's in business administration, and a associate's in criminal justice. And one thing I did, because I was doing YouTube, is I took several courses in copyright law. Now, the thing is you're absolutely right. You can't copyright an African American, and you can't copyright a gay couple, but you can copyright the different forms that things take. So if I wanted to talk about a farm boy on a dust planet, that the planet has two suns, I can tell a story about that. What I can't do is name that person Skycraft Luke Walker, give him a laser sword, and have a backstory where this, we won't say empire, we'll say imperial magistrate has taken over the galaxy, and they used to fight these hobbits that also had laser swords that were called Medai. So you can absolutely copyright the form in which those things take, right? So it's not as simple as saying, oh, well, they use a tardigrade. You can't copyright tardigrade because that's a known level. Yes, you can copyright the way that it comes in. So If he made a blue tardigrade that travels through space, that uses white spores, and that has something similar to the mycelial network, where he goes wherever he wants, and then Discovery takes that, that form of the way he used that tardigrade absolutely is copyrightable. And so I think it'd be interesting, though not a slam dunk even if it was, if the boyfriend was a doctor or in the medical field, and the other person is a science officer. And were you able to look it out? Now I'm just curious. Were you able to look it
Yeah,
out?
I'm searching. It's kind of hard to like talk and Google the exact thing.
Sure.
Okay, Carter
I mean,
is the botanist.
Sure. You don't have to find it if you don't want to. So Carter is a botanist, though? He's...
Yeah, and that is technically kind of what Stamets is. He's technically part of the botany department, and he's the equivalent. Let's see, girlfriend Alex. So that's some of it. I'm looking for Aziz specifically. Is the character name? I can't find it quickly, but
it's not a huge deal. I'm not really necessarily worried. I was just curious about it. I mean, I'll look it up afterwards, but I do think that there is there's a point here. I honestly think that they could just easily bankrupt him by delaying and everything. I mean, how do you think CBS is going to respond? Because did you ever watch what happened with Axanar, with Prelude?
A little bit of it. A lot of that I was kind of tuned out of, but I don't know. I think... Well, refresh my memory of what they did.
Sure. So
before I respond.
A lot of people get pretty upset about this, but I think Prelude to Axanar was absolutely in the wrong. What happened is Prelude to Axanar... the people who made that put this like $1 million project together. They made it look fantastic. It absolutely competes with any Star Trek project. Not only that, they were using the Star Trek brand to build their own studio and to start making their own movies and things like that. They were selling merchandise that was absolutely Star Trek merchandise, regardless of what they like to say. I do think that CBS was absolutely in the right to take them down like they did. They were heavy-handed. They could have done it different ways, but absolutely what they did was probably legit. But they would delay with Axanar. They would have thousands upon thousands of different meetings and things like that, and would do all kinds of motions that caused the entire process, judicial process, just to go longer and longer and longer. And that would be my concern, because I could absolutely see CBS just trying to bankrupt him by just keeping it out of court for as long as possible.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know. I hope that, again, they get a complete gut punch, right? But yeah. I don't know that that's going to happen,
Yeah. I mean, I think it depends on how many people are behind him and how public it is. And with like the power of a lot of YouTubers to, start GoFundMes for legal fees if he needs to. I mean, I think he could have a pretty good shot of them just kind of getting scared enough to think, oh, wait, we can't control all of the media. We can control some of the media, but not all of it. And public opinion and our stockholders are going down, and or our shareholders' opinions of our stock prices and things. They're I'm getting a little rambly and on a tangent here, but yeah, I think that I think that they could easily get scared if enough people are aware of this. And yeah, like I said earlier, though, there's so many similarities too. But for Axanar, yeah, I can totally see how they were in the wrong. But I did see part of Axanar, or what was available, and it actually looked really good.
Oh, it was awesome, man. I wish we'd have Ax. What I wish so here's my thing. Even CBS had every right to sue Axanar. Here's one thing that would have happened too. If CBS wanted to steal, God, I hate being Southern. If they wanted to take everything from Axanar, take every idea they had and use it as their own, they absolutely could have. They could have took a Prelude to Axanar beat for beat, because that is absolutely their property. I wish what they would have done, though, is they would have teamed up with Axanar, or they would have done it on their own, and the Axanar would have been Discovery. I think that would have been excellent. A lot of people get that wrong. I loved Axanar. I wish we could have seen Axanar. I hope we still see Axanar. I don't know if that's going to go through or not, but I absolutely loved it. But the other here's an idea. Here's an interesting thing. I bet you're regretting coming on here now. But
no.
Here's someone said this. Maybe it was Doomcock, so you can let me know if it was Doomcock. But it's not going to gut punch CBS all that much. However, it could have an amazingly powerful impact on Paramount. Paramount is trying to sell the movie aspect of it, right? And they're already having a ton of issues with one main character and one very popular character walking away. They're also having some issues with behind the scenes and things. And now you have this, which is connected to Star Trek, even if it's not Paramount, it's still connected to Star Trek, negatively pulling down the opinion of the Star Trek properties. And so if it could impact Paramount enough to where their shareholders have an issue with it, could they put enough pressure on CBS to acquiesce? I'd be curious what your opinion on is that.
I think they could. I think they could for sure, because I mean that's where their money's at. That's their interest. But yeah, absolutely. Like I already kind of get a little nervous about even speaking out that loudly against Discovery, because there are so many people who just, especially now, I mean, like, because of being associated with like Midnight's Edge and Doomcock, there's a target on our backs for sure, and probably yours, probably anti-Trekker, probably everybody. But
yeah, people get mad at me. I don't know if you saw my Twitter or not, but someone called me a racist simply for making a joke and not liking Axonar. So yeah, I mean, anytime it gets like this, you're going to see there's going to be a target on your back. Though I'll be honest, I think more people probably get more upset with you and Doomcock and Midnight's Edge than they do myself, since I don't. Since I'm a little more towards the middle. To you. Wither Tax is heading out. Talk to you later. So yeah, I mean, I guess that's about all we're going with it. Beyond that, I'm interested. I've heard you talk about it, but what specific issues do you have with Discovery? Why do you not like it specifically?
Mostly the writing issues and the canon issues. Those are the most obvious things for me. There are so many plot holes, setups that go nowhere, characters being related to other characters out of nowhere, just super unlikable characters, anti-Starfleet characters. Landry, for example, is a great one. She would never, in my opinion, pass any sort of Starfleet exam ever. They would never let her out of the academy. You don't go into a giant monster cage knowing that he's not knocked out to get yourself torn apart, stupid. Like, she was stupid and I laughed. Like, I mean, I don't know. There are just so many issues. And I hate having a main character for Star Trek. You really need an ensemble cast, and we don't have that. It's like, imagine you have your least favorite character on a show, and you don't even have the relief of going to, like, oh, next week it's the Doctor's episode, so I don't have to see this person that I hate. You have every episode with this person that you hate looking at. You hate their personality. You hate their smugness. You hate their lack of emotion or weird facial expressions or just nasty attitude. Just a horrible, nasty attitude. But yeah, that's kind of, I guess, a short version of everything that I hate about Discovery.
Yeah, they showed a and by the way, Gabriel, thank you so much. $5, which I'll split with you, random. But he says pressure. Talking about Paramount, pressure is one of the greatest tools in a legal case. I definitely agree with you both. Yeah, I hope Paramount is what takes CBS down, because I think that's the only thing that's going to happen. But what frustrates me is that the entirety of the series, I think it would be, and this is just me, you can disagree, I think it would be a great reimagined or a part of the Kelvin timeline. And the reason why is because it shows a fundamental lack of understanding of Star Trek, how Star Trek is ran, how the episodes have always been done, and just as you said, the continuity and things like that. So the as an example, like you said, the fact that they focused on one character. So they say they care about, to the nth degree, the continuity and the way Star Trek was done. But the very fact that they're not running an ensemble cast shows that they don't know how Star Trek has always done. They said, this time we're not focusing on a captain. Well, if you had ever watched anything in your fucking life, you would know that it was never specifically about the captain. It was ensemble. At best, you could make an argument that it would be the top three. Like in the original series, you had Bones, you had Kirk, and you had Spock. TNG, you had, what was it? Who did they try to make it out?
Usually Riker, Riker, Picard, and whoever, like Geordi maybe or Data, probably,
or Worf or whoever. Yeah, Data. And so at best, and with DS9, you had Cisco, you had Cura, and then whoever they wanted to do with the third there. It was never specifically focused on one person. So the fact that you say we're moving away from focusing on one person shows that you fundamentally didn't understand to begin with, and so you're a liar. And then you're going to say that you keep it with continuity. There's several continuity gaps, and that's not even looking at the visual updates. If the visual updates was all they did, I wouldn't really have the issue that a lot of people have. Now, I get why people would, but if that was the only issue, you could forgive. For me, you could forgive that. But I completely agree with you. They just didn't understand, and they tried to do something new, and they were just liars. And
exactly.
That's not even getting into the political side of it. I think you get a little more into the political side than I do, but it was just so blatantly. Star Trek has been, man, you're talking about ranting. That's what I'm doing. Star Trek has always been, it has always had a left bias. It has always had somewhat of a left agenda. I don't think really people could argue that well.
And that was never a problem either. It was always here are the options and decide for yourself for the most part.
Yeah, it was always, they always tried to leave it open. They failed sometimes, but they always tried to leave it open so that you could at least see the two sides to it. But in real life and in the show, there is a right side and a bad side, a right side and a wrong side. You're either far leftist or you are sleeping with the enemy or you are the enemy. I mean, it's just absolutely horrific, in my opinion. And apparently Michael Leith thinks that we should do a podcast because, why not? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Again, I really just wanted to pull you on because you and me had a bit of a stark, and I don't think we necessarily have as different opinion as I thought we may have, but I don't know. What do you think the next 4 series are going to be any good, out of curiosity?
I can't imagine them being any good because no matter what, you have Alex Kurtzman involved, and he's such a corporate yes man. He does anything that they tell him to do. That he doesn't know Star Trek well enough to understand what's good about it and what the fans want out of it, and like just them not knowing that you need an ensemble cast. You need a lot of the science to have some meaning in the universe. You need to. You need to kind of understand that you can't teleport from halfway across the galaxy and then in that space takes X amount of time to travel X amount of distance. And that's kind of the thing that Star Trek fans want. At least that's the type of stuff I want as a Star Trek fan. I want some sort of continuity. I want to believe the universe, like the rules that the universe makes, it follows, and Discovery doesn't do any of that. There's a scene where Michael Burnham airlocks she beams Ash into space, and Discovery's just there to beam him back. Like, what, were you right up the ship's ass the whole time?
Right.
There's so many like little continuity and sciencey issues that the hologram sitting down on a desk. In this time, it's already been established that it would take like 3 months to get a hologram. So I don't remember. I've got it all written down on I've got a script coming that I don't know if it'll ever get finished of everything that is wrong with Star Trek Discovery. I don't think it'll ever get done. Episode 1 is like 9 pages.
Wow. Well, at least you'll be able to do you'll have as many parts as Anti-Trekker does. You'll have like part 752 when putting it all down. Yeah, I'm hopeful. I am hopeful. I'm like you. I'm not completely sure. It just depends on where and how they go with it. Especially with everyone's excited about the Picard series. I am not all that hopeful about it, to be honest. Hopefully it does well, but I don't know. I don't think that it's necessarily going to go as far as people think, or it's going to be like a complete redo, or they're gonna do it right this time. I just don't trust them.
No, And I just don't want them to ruin our memory or ruin our love of Picard. You know, don't turn him into a sad old man that tosses a phaser over his shoulder and doesn't want to do anything to stop an enemy. Like I don't want depressed, broken Picard. You know, we want heroic, you know, diplomatic, intelligent Picard. We don't want him Luke Skywalker, basically.
Right. SC says Kurtzman isn't my cup of tea, but he's been successful. How successful was Berman or Roddenberry outside of Trek? Well, Berman, in my opinion, wasn't all that successful, especially when you get into Voyager and Enterprise. Roddenberry had some idiotic. So here's my opinion on that, and Mecca, if you want to give your opinion, of course you can too. Roddenberry had a great idea for a world, for a universe. It's like Lucas, in my opinion. He had a wonderful idea to bring some stuff together. And then beyond that, he wasn't so hot. A lot of the positives, a lot of the things people like, Roddenberry didn't have a ton of impact on. A lot of the things about the original series, Roddenberry actually didn't have as much power as Roddenberry liked to pretend that Roddenberry had. Season 1 and Season 2 of TNG absolutely sucked. And one of the reasons why is because survey says Roddenberry almost had unlimited control. He made a wonderful universe that other people made a franchise, in my opinion. Now, Mecca, if you want, you can disagree if you'd like, but I think Kurtzman ultimately, especially if he continues doing this, is going to run it into the ground. I could be wrong, but especially if they take it off of CBS Access and let everybody see the numbers, I really do think that it's going to not do well. But I mean,
well, that's one of the things. Like, what are the numbers? They refuse so much to release any sort of numbers. They give shady. Well, it did really well, and it's on Amazon Prime now, and or available through Amazon or whatever. Like, yeah, what are the numbers though? I don't know if it's doing as well as they want us to believe, because it wouldn't look good to the shareholders.
Right. All right. Well, last question, and then I think we'll get off and we'll end it. But what do you think Destiny is going to be about, out of curiosity?
Bringing the guys from Stargate Universe home. I can only hope. No, that's the funny answer. No, I can't imagine what Star Trek Destiny is going to be. It's going to, maybe it'll be from the books. I don't know. Maybe it'll be. I'm imagining Star Trek really being kind of aimed at the sort of Hot Topic era or age of sort of viewer who watch a lot of CW sort of shows, and that's kind of what I'm imagining. Pretty much all of these new shows being aimed for.
Right.
And I'm not hopeful.
Yeah, my concern is, even if you moved away from the Kelvin or everything we're seeing with Discovery, let's say they absolutely did it, and like an updated TNG, like Orville, right? I don't think it's going to be a part of the Destiny books. I honestly don't think the Destiny books would be a good idea. I think that they are going to try to take it to the next step with what happened at the end of the Next Generation and things like that. So possibly seeing Q, seeing the Destiny, seeing a post Deep Space Nine, but I can't see it being done all that. I don't know. I don't know. I'm like you. I'm not all that excited about it. But yeah, I don't know. All right, so with that out of the way, Mecca, thanks for coming on. You know what? Next time I'm going to have a better topic, and you and me are going to talk for an hour. I really thought that we'd disagree more, but I think we're more on the similar sides. I think we're more together than we would have. And I got to make it so that people can see you too next time, because people are only showing up for you. But all right, guys. Well, thanks for watching. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. Oh, definitely go to her channel. I already shared it once, but I'm going to share it again. Can you pop your channel in your thing real quick for me in Discord?
My channel. Yes.
Or I can look it up real quick if you want me to.
Whoever can click quicker, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but if I click, people are going to be like, oh my god, it's so loud, because I have this stupid keyboard. See, you won. She wins the day. Let's see, there we go. Whoops, I'm not as a supply. I guess we can do that. All right. Definitely check her out. She's pretty awesome. Captain George also beat me to it, apparently. And yeah, don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. Guys, we're going to see you on the next Lore Reloaded.